scratching, scratch, 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 scratching, 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 scratch, 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 scratching, and scratch, 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 and rake, 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 raking, 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 scratch, 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 scratching, scratch, 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 scratching, 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 scratch, 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 and rake, 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 raking, scratch, 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 and scratch, scratching, scratch, 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 and scratch, 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 raking, 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 and rake, 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 scratch, 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 and scratch, 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 rake, 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 and scratch, 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 and scratch, scratch, scratching, raking, rake, 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 raking, scratch, 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 scratching, scratch, 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 scratching, 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 scratch, 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 scratching, 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 scratch, 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 scratching, and scratch, 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 and rake, 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 raking, 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 doing well and staying safe. Thank you so much again, guys, for stopping by. I hope you guys have a super great week. If you would like to, in the comments below, leave your trigger words, the favorite trigger words, because I'm going to be having an upcoming trigger words video where I just say your favorites, and I have a bunch of them in store for you guys. So please leave a comment down below of your favorite trigger words.